Hello, my name is Soane. I'm one of the students placed on who's just completed the placement with Pepper Child and Family. I'm one of the students at MIT, currently completing my bachelor's in applied social work. Within this self-review, I will outline my learning opportunities undertaken during practicum. I will also talk about my strengths and weaknesses during the experience, um, and also look at um, how I was proactive in the participation and supervision, and also reflecting on how that was beneficial for me and also for my practice as well. I will also look at the integration and application of theory within practice, and also look at my skills post fieldwork placement. So firstly, my learning opportunities. For me, there are a number of learning opportunities that arose. The one main one that was recurring all the time was informal supervision. And so informal supervision took place almost every hour, every day, which provided a vital opportunity in terms of contributing to best practice and safe practice. For me, also teachable moments from just learning, whether it was engaging with clients, engaging with different practitioners or different external agencies or different stakeholders. In terms of my strengths, one of the strengths that was highlighted to me, which was obvious to my supervisor, was being people orientated. I'm very people orientated for me, so I believe that's part of the reason why I was able to engage with some of the most challenging whānau for specifically Pepper Child and Family. Um, with these whānau members or whānau who have had a who've had a history of child and family, they've refused to engage with any social workers or either abused them. So I was provided or given the challenge of engaging with them. So I was able to engage with them, and the relationship became reciprocal in that sense because I believe being people oriented, people recognize if you genuinely care for them and their well being. And also in terms of my strength, that was also a weakness for me that I can see because I could be too people oriented that I tend to neglect the task at hand, or be too people focused that I forget the task or why we're there in the first place. Pretty much for the vulnerable child they will receive the report of concern for. So it has its pros and cons, but I guess it's recognizing that, and I guess for future references, it's how do I keep that in check. You harnessing it in terms of practicing, but at the same time, probably having a balance of both task and also being people oriented. In terms of supervision, I was being proactive, and this was demonstrated by consistently consulting with my supervisors, having worked for Child and Family within Koroi Manaki, Youth Justice Residence for 7 years. Supervision is talked about, but it's rarely a case where it's actually implemented in a sense. So I guess for me, I wanted to utilize every opportunity in terms of supervision. So this was demonstrated by sending regular, firstly consulting with my supervisor for an appropriate time, and then I would send regular email reminders or calendar reminders for my supervisor to ensure that supervision was conducted through every fortnight, formal supervision that is. Peer supervision and informal supervision was pretty much almost hand in hand, and it occurred almost every hour when you pretty much engage with different people. And what I really enjoyed about what I really loved about the formal supervision is that it provided an opportunity where I was able to keep myself in check with my supervisor, and also in terms of my cases, I was able to consult my supervisor in terms of direction, where to or next steps, and I guess that's where best practice is managed well, and supervision I believe contributes to not only best practice but safe practice as well. So that's how I was active, and during supervision, I would always write down questions during like the week in terms of if I was stuck on something, or if I was unable to find the answer to whatever questions or an assessment, I'd write it down, and I'd usually utilize my supervision time, if needed, to yeah inquire about it. For me, in terms of theory, I found theory was very important. For me, in terms of informing and underpinning practice, it provided a theoretical framework that I was able to use to guide practice and safe practice. So, for example, majority of our clients or whānau were of Māori ethnicity. So, for example, one of the theories that I was indigenous theories that I was consistently utilizing or employing was the theory of ata. So ata is a theory used for engagement by tēnā pohatu, its growing respectful relationships, and it was utilizing some of the takipu or the principles to guide practice. So, for example, ata haere, which was reflecting the space and respecting the space and respecting the client or the whānau in terms of engagement. And I believe that's where it started in terms of the reciprocity or the for that kind of process of engagement. Also, ata titiro, which was being observant, vigilantly watching and observing for non-verbal communication or non-verbal cues in a sense, because I believe they provided a good analysis in terms of case noting and ata kōrero, which is in terms of the dialogue, and also ata whakarongo, which was the listening. Another theory that I found was very appropriate was the ecological model, or the ecological approach or theory by Yuri Bronfenbrenner. Because for us, in terms of practitioners or students in social work, I could see how it's important to, in terms of information gathering, that you are to systemically approach or address or assess the client based on their surroundings or the environment. So, for example, it could be school, whānau, the extended whānau, non-kin. Also, we can look at different things that impact their well-being, whether directly or indirectly, and those different systems, the meso, the micro, and the macro systems, provided, I guess, different layers for us to assess and engage with, to be able to provide an accurate picture or find out or identify things that impact the well-being of or the welfare of the child. Another theory I found appropriate was Dr. Leland Rethew's te mahi whakamana, which was empowering the perpetrator. So I guess for us, we did engage with a lot of children who were physically abused or sexually abused, and the perpetrator was more than likely their caregivers or their parents. So I guess although it's about, so in terms of strengthening engagement, which was another theory, strength-based theory, it was empowering the client or the perpetrator to I guess seek further support and help to not only make change for themselves, but change that will have a positive impact on them, their children, and their whānau, and ultimately their communities. So I guess there was a number of theories that inform practice, and I believe that's how I was able to apply it to practice as well, and I could see how important it was in terms of practice, because sometimes you don't just want to go in and do things half-hearted, but to have a theoretical framework provided by like Dr. Leland Refi, tēnā pohatu, also Sigmund Freud. Attachment theory was another one. With the attachment, we're able to, they provided analysis for us in terms of the child caregiver relationship, and they assisted us with in terms of our assessments and I guess identifying and recognizing what are the probably underpinning issues and what supports we can put in place. And I guess for me, I've learned a lot from my placement or from my practicum. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to engage in as a student in social work with Papakura Child and Family. And I guess there's always going to be room for improvement for myself in terms of practice. I'm never there yet, and I guess, but those are some of the things that I wanted to speak about. And yeah, thank you, Malabita.